Does anybody know how I can change my name? This was a previous call. It was called Pacific.
Hey, don't bite. Bite.
So, can you hear me on the live stream? Yes. Okay, we've got go. I'm recording to the cloud now.
Recording in progress.
Hi, my name is Bob Grinier. I'm a volunteer with the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, and thank you for joining me here on this EVO Labs DAO introduction, open forum, where I will be introducing Charles Holmes visually for the first time, and he will be taking you through the presentation, which he's carefully prepared, and I'm going to let him fire away, and if everyone else can kill their cameras right now.
Thanks, Bob. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so my name's Charles Holmes. I have been volunteering with the MFMP for around 3 years now, and I've been assisting with financial support for various MFMP experiments. This upcoming market cycle will be my fourth, so I have over 10 years of experience in the crypto space, from building miners in my flat in 2014 to advising projects and doing angel investing. Today, I'd like to give the community an update on what is being planned for our DAO. A DAO is a decentralized, autonomous organization. How this could benefit all of us, what the structure would be, and hopefully waylay any concerns you may have. If you could keep your questions to the end, I'll spend some time on answering as I can. So with all good things, this begins with a story. So on a warm day in July, a group of us were in Hank's shed, watching Hank's Hank Tank produce some ball lightning and eat some stuff. We looked at 3D EVO strike marks that reminded me of the Carolina bays. After a and some soup, we started discussing next. While theory and tinkering are fun, were we really going to give humanity any of the we all so drastically require? We need cheaper power, potential second industrial revolution, a technology to be out in all communities, countries, and societies to benefit from. Bob highlighted the need to be relentless, that there were significant hurdles to overcome to take any product to market, but a number of us started assembling on Discord. We took up the challenge. We have evidence going back as long as care to look of exotic vacuum object strike marks. We know their signature on scanning electron microscope data. They like to transmute material. They do not like impedance changes. They move very fast and they transport things. And they like to deposit crenellated iron-rich microspheres. We know how to create EVOs, but we don't utilize them to our advantage repeatedly and consistently. We understand these things are created by nature and are all around us, all of them. The opportunity, I believe, has come to put our collective knowledge, time and passion, and expertise together to create something to improve our lives and those of future generations, our children and grandchildren. To build something that's immune from censorship, autonomous and allows funding to occur between the community and spare time tinkerers or labs. While doing this, we will also catalog the iterative design process and experimentation process in a fully open source manner. The aim is to get big projects up to MVP status and for the plans, specs, and documentation to be released freely for the world to use. This will hopefully enable decentralized company formation as different community members can establish ventures in their respective countries and produce this technology at home to benefit their own communities. So the Evol Labs DAO will be a community foundation DAO, aiming to bring together funding and project management under one platform. We'll be the world's first DAO focused solely on physics experiments relating to exotic vacuum objects, charge clusters, itonic clusters, plasmoids, ball lightning, radiant energy, orgone energy, ectons, erzions, Kozyrev-Dirac monopoles, Lotchak monopoles, or static electricity, whichever moniker you would like to give them. We will enable projects to utilize these natural phenomena in industries relating to propulsion, transportation, transmutation, nuclear remediation, manufacturing, energy production, communication, and materials processing. Evol Labs DAO is committed to the free flow of theoretical and experimental information. We intend to be at the center of development in the field and consequently will be well prepared to swiftly and safely commercialize any products developed. Our DAO is blockchain-based, community-owned, operated, and managed business. This formulation was chosen as DAOs are censorship-resistant, transparent, secure, and reliable. While traditional DAOs can have problems, open source and anonymous communities don't equate to a business, so we need to be flexible and by bringing together decentralized infrastructure and open source development, we aim to combine the similar ethoses of decentralization, permissionless access, transparency, true ownership, and a trustless system design. Trustless means you don't have to trust it at all. It works. Smart contracts just work as designed. Our aim is to decentralize knowledge via an open source vision. We encourage other companies, entities, and people to rep our experiments, tests, and trust. We envisage a future where everyone has the ability to make their own versions of completed projects. So in essence, copy our homework and we help you at the same time. So the problems, after discussing with Bob and the wider community over the last few years, these are the major problems that I've seen. So most innovators aren't that website. They don't have places to say what they're doing. Some can't access payment rails or even their wider community at all. So they can't find funding and donations. Mainstream academia will not believe data presented or if working theories are supplied and refuse to investigate them. Hubris, our downfall, if we don't start looking at old ideas in new ways. So passing health and safety checks is also a challenge, coupled with lack of documentation, credentials, or even cash flow. This all happens progress, making lab space difficult to access. Replication errors due to unpublished data or poor documentation. It leads to frauds, sometimes secrets deliberately. Sometimes data is not included as it would cause derision. Many tinker in their sheds or their spare time. In their spare time, writing things down in a scientific fashion is often at the back of their minds. Many inventors dream of that big payday. Will hold out $1 billion offer that will never emerge. So greed wins over humanity. If journal articles were published validating experiments, it would be easy to generate funding. It'd be easy to open doors, but this is a huge challenge. Sometimes between $2,000 and $6,000 to get published, and peer reviewers don't get any support whatsoever, generally. So the solution would be to look at all these problems and bind them in the DAO. So we're going to offer a treasury, which will be multi-signature controlled and could only when directed to by the. We will offer easy-to-use donations, so either direct to the Treasury itself or directly to a project. We're going to be a community-based DAO with voting rights. So with monthly calls, so you can understand what's going on, get updates. We'll offer reports and updates monthly on all projects. We'll highlight blockers. This will highlight the challenges that these inventors are facing, how the community to react to these issues. We'll be sourcing lab space in the UK and EU for experimentation purposes. And we have one founder dedicated to operate, Chris Newman, who's heading up day-to-day management of the DAO as well as product management. He will organize report updates and all calls as and when the projects need them. We have solutions in place to offer documentation side by side with development, which should enable us to get to MVP quicker. We will need the community for peer review on all project applications and procurement. And we'll be also offering decentralization by decentralized journals. So the DAO structure, the DAO Treasury. So the wallet is censorship resistant. It's with battle-tested security. It's transparent, 100% transparent. Everybody in the world can see what the Treasury does. It's decentralized, self-custody, so the DAO would own whatever's inside the Treasury, and offers multi-signature access only. This be from safe.global. We will offer a number of options for donations, including donating directly to the DAO to a specific project. And we may offer crypto natives the opportunity to loan the DAO liquidity and create a non-repayable loan against it. On and off ramps directly to and from fiat bank accounts. So we will, fingers crossed, be able to get donations directly from a credit card or a bank account directly into the Treasury. And the Treasury will also be able to pay out directly into bank accounts. Many more options for Treasury include auctions, but for looking at the most options, please go to safe.global and look at their ecosystem. And you see how many different decentralized applications there are on there. The wallet is the most secure we could think of, and the keys are held by members of the MFMP community who are doxed. So we've given our ID up to other people. We will also, yes, we're all doxed, 3 people who own the multi-signature keys. We will also endeavor to make it as easy as possible to interact with the DAO from everyone from donatives all the way to new entrants into the industry. So the structure of the DAO so far, as I mentioned, we have 3 founders from the community. So the DAO have doxed themselves to each other and the wider community to establish trust. We're the current multi-sig key owners and will action any decision. We will only release funds when instructed to by the DAO. It's impossible to do so without. So I am one of the doxed people. I'm at the moment responsible for DAO design, organizing funding, actioning growth plans and long-term strategy. Chris Newman is responsible for organizing processes and meeting deadlines. He manages day-to-day operations. And we have Toon Peters, who ensures initial applications have a workable hypothesis, test plans, and safety concerns in place before sending an application to the DAO. He conducts an initial peer review occasions and tries to be our reality anchor. You are the community, and you have as much or as little anonymity as you prefer. You can be completely anonymous. The community has all the power. You need to direct the DAO, review data, and ensure the right questions are asked during review. So community access will be via a soul-owned token, and this will elements. These soul-bound tokens are non-exchangeable and non-transferable. Will cost in the region of 2 per user, and they might be cheaper. Users only need 1 soul-bound token to interact. You will receive no economic returns from this token itself, and it allows participants the right to create proposals and the right to vote on proposals. We have not yet decided on a chain as of yet, but the rest of the decentralized science community are congregating on the Gnosis chain. So voting rights, voting is free and only permitted to community members with an EVO Labs DAO sound token. Examples of things you will be voting on are verifying procurement requests, ranking community comments, conducting peer reviews of projects to understand whether they should be funded and how they should be funded, change parameter rating to voting, i.e. if you think a proposal is waiting too long to be funded, you can fund that time. You create proposals relating to anything you think that could improve the DAO. Examples are adding or removing or creating full or part-time roles. So say if we need to expand and bring on new people, pardon me. You can vote to add or remove the DAO Treasury signature signers, such as myself, Toon, and Chris. Say if I like the wrong meme in the UK and get arrested for it, and can't sig sign, you can vote somebody in and establish a process so that we can send them a laptop and some hardware. So the voting and proposals are free, they are off-chain, and the results are broadcast on-chain for the Treasury to use. We will be offering content submission and creation and allow the community to contribute and have their submissions ranked by the community, which will allow identity gating as well, should we need it. And we will do quadratic voting, which allows weighted votes coming from community-assigned experts. We believe this should centralize decision-making and integrated proposal building. So for lab space, as I mentioned before, we're looking at sites in Czech and the EU. If you have a site that we can use, there'll be some contact details at the end of the presentation. So the initial decentralized peer review comes in the form of the scientific process check, where we'll be asked 3 questions. Has a hypothesis and proposed test plan been provided? Is the basis of the hypothesis sound? Does the test plan make sense? And then that will be followed by a 1-2 review. There will also be a peer review on any procurement request. For example, the latest one we're looking at is Hank's oscilloscope is only a 2-channel oscilloscope to 4-channel. So at the moment we're dealing with his procurement request. And that's something we'd love the community to be involved in. So yeah, we are looking at peer reviewing journal articles prior to publication, once they've been published, and we will try and make sure that they are incentivized depending if we publish them. So yes, we intend to do our own yearly centralized journal. We aim to be able to publish easily and economically, and any papers that we submit will be peer reviewed, and you'll be able to own 100% of your copyright. And we aim to make it LLM friendly so that we could essentially make it monetizable. So this is our current workflow. As you can see, there's a giant draft written at the back. This is subject to change, but this is where we are at the moment. So if a project was submitted to the DAO, an application would go through into a scientific process check. These are the 3 questions, and Toon being our reality anchor right at the start. If the basics are met, then yes, we move forward. If not, we're committed to providing feedback just to help people understand why they didn't get through and what they could do to improve. So if the basics have been met, it would then go to a community review. This community peer review would last 1 month. And then a multi-field, multiple option vote would be open to the community that would pretty much be sculpted over the month of peer review. So there'd be multiple options to pick from. Once a vote is through and potential funding is released, onboarding would occur into, well, what we're using now is Jira, Confluence, and Slack. Jira is for tracking projects in real time. We're going to have a Gitbook plugin and a viewer for each project so everyone can keep an eye on it. Confluence is for real-time documentation creation and collaboration. And we use Slack for communications, uploads, videos, links, huddles, because they're integrated with Jira and Confluence. However, they are centralized, and we will need to look at moving away from them as soon as possible. So once Chris has done his onboarding, we will then be providing operational support to Prototype, helping projects publish research, and should they need additional funding that can again be passed back to the DAO. Any procurement requests can be passed back to the DAO. And fingers crossed, we get all the way to MVP replication kits, and we can pass these out to labs in the community who can then test hypotheses or plans or how these devices work. And if that happens, then the fun can begin. So then we could potentially begin full-scale product development, coming to the community initially, potentially. Well, coming to the community first, obviously, and then angels, VCs. So that if we need funding for product development, that would be our route, and then we can start delivering these products to market. So, if any project that wants to approach us, it doesn't matter what stage they're in. The payments, the funding may increase depending on how complex it is, but it's really how long is a piece of string. So stage 1 prototypes will be funding, initial round of funding, and then we'll be helping with organizational plans, weekly check-ins, monthly project timeline planning, risk management. We'll be giving skills training, not to try and teach people how to suck eggs, but at the same time, some people haven't given a presentation in 20 years, may not know how to use certain aspects of IT, so helping them onboard them with that can be fine. Also, attachment can assist, and helping with health and safety protocols. The subject matter experts are you in the community, so that would be you guys. That's what they benefit from, mostly, I would say. And all you guys are researchers, and we would appoint a product lead as well to do all the organizational stuff. Should something get to prototype, and we hope it will, that's absolutely wonderful. We will then potentially create a second round of funding, which would again go through the DAO to be voted. Additional support for applications for manufacturing, so introducing to manufacturing partners, design engineers, materials engineers. And then we'll be able to introduce to the advanced testing equipment. We maybe have our own labs with advanced testing equipment. And then we'll help them with testing standards in space. The community will then get the continued check-ins. We'll do the weekly check-ins, and then we'll do the monthly project updates and monthly calls. And again, we'll be offering the project manager assistance. Once we've got to giving away replication kits, once we've got an MVP created, we can then move to replication kits, getting a dozen of them out, stepping up the manufacturing, going for a third round of funding, potentially if we need that, supporting the creation of an operations manual and health and safety procedures. And then we would help identifying and mitigating risks with product use and manufacture, and again, supported by external experts. And if we don't have them in the community, we'll be able to bring them in. But there'll be weekly check-in from the product lead, and monthly project updates coming to the community, and again, project management assistance. And so if we can get replicated kits out, everyone can have a little look at how the things are going. And once we've proven something, we may be able to go to full-scale product development, or we could go the very easy route and just literally give the plans out and hope that people give a percentage of the company or some return of profits back to the DAO. But again, company gets big enough and they're making enough money, they're not going to give any money back. So the way I'd like to do it, the very hard route, and this is obviously up to the community, is support DAO members directly or product development ourselves, and start producing these units to get them out to smaller companies in the local areas. So yeah, that's something that we can discuss over the next few months. So as far as resilience goes, we have bi-weekly backups of the Jira, the Confluence, and the Slack. So all of the data that we're creating is up onto a hard drive. We're investigating in a legal offshore entity so that we can legally set up. We're setting up a transfer of the admin processes in the multi-sig. So if I like the wrong meme, you can replace me or replace any of the other multi-sig signers. We're looking at decentralized data storage, and as I mentioned before, we're looking at further examinations of how to decentralize processes and automate certain things based on DAO votes. How to get the Jira, the Confluence, and Slack or open sourced versions to sign transactions on trains so the Treasury can pick them up. So these are things that don't exactly exist at the moment. So we're looking at how we can really make a fully automated business. the current projects that we're looking at, to be a brief overview, I'm sure quite a lot of the community know about these ones. So we got the bagel. Oh yeah, these are all at various stages at the moment, so more information will be coming. So we got the bagel. So Mr. Peters is working on fractal bagels because it's foundational to anything ball lightning related. The bagel game by Zerbliss, I hope, Bob, establishes the idea but doesn't quantify any parameters like coil specifics or energy storage. In a sense, this will be a battery, not for static electrochemical potentials, but storing vector potential energy, the A field, a flux battery. If we can get this to run at 60 hertz, humanity may not need inverters anymore. So currently he's having a bit of a challenge building the coil winder. So we have the Wintech, Tony Gibboni. So inspired by Schauberger, Keeley, and Tesla, Mr. Gibboni is in reinterpreting Frank Polifka's Wintex. That's Wintex with an extra E on the end, by building an open source version using his 3D design background for engineering projects. He is challenging himself to propel an idea from the digital space in the material world, as he believes there are too many ideas and concepts trapped in the digital space. He aims to create a material grinding and drying apparatus with the aid of the MFMP community, and hopefully have an MVP, which is actually a large-scale practical application of the fractal toroidal moment. For more information, see windhexe.com, WINDHEXE.com. So he's at the moment pitching for investors and trying to find time to work on it in between his day jobs. So we have a cloud-off cavitator, which was excess heat when it was repeatedly put through it. In the process of getting the 3D patent turned into a model, and then in the acceptable format for the 3D printing, because there's some tolerance issues. What we'd like to do is 3D print a section of it, and then cover it in clear perspex so we can see the cavitation before we start building any more models. We have Project Zeus, so that's Mr. Henk Uren. He is currently in the process of combining patents from Tesla, Solin, Shoulders to create a direct matter to energy conversion generator. So initial tests have been interesting, but better testing equipment needs to be procured. Hence, we'll be getting him an oscilloscope soon, a 4-channel one. So Lion, we have 2 teams, one in the UK and one in Germany, are in the process of building Lion reactors. So again, there'll be some funding coming that way. So operation timeline. Okay, so this is a few members of the community have spoken about needing this. After spending months with Chris, going through Lion data myself, transcribing some of it and uploading everything we thought pertinent, we understand the need now for orderly data, and we understand the challenges of how to display it in a way which makes things useful for them as well as for the learned. And many in the community need easier reference points to understand this technology. So OD1X has been building the Lena AI bot for some time, which is amazing if you haven't used it. He's been creating the lenawiki.com or helping bolster it. And he's been doing a Lena 101 course for educating users on history, names, and concepts starting in the late 19th century with Tesla. So OD1X aims to create a knowledge graph, which could turn into an interactive timeline of knowledge and could be customizable depending on which scientists you're looking at. So we're at early stages of that. There'll be more information over the coming months. So yeah, we've got more projects to be added over the next months prior to launch. Talking to a few at the moment. So our short-term timeline, over the next days, I'll be engaging with some lawyers. I've got 5 to choose from at the moment. So there are new launch projects, as I mentioned, that we'll be looking at. There'll be some models that need to be, again, looked at. We'll be sourcing a lead dev or developers to take over development. We'll be looking at branding, creating a website lander, so there'll be something to your information on. We're looking at user journeys and specifications to help the devs going forward. The next 60 and 120 days, that's just what we hope to be doing, but things are subject to change. So, excuse me. In the previous announcement that Bob made, there were some community comments, and to be perfectly honest, I agree with the vast majority of it. Historically, DAOs have been horrible money grabs. I 100% agree with this as a general statement. However, there are exceptions. Uniswap, Curve, Aave, and my personal favorite, Constitution DAO. So Constitution DAO was a DAO set up to purchase the Constitution. Everybody put money in. They made a bid on the Constitution. They didn't get it, and so they pay everyone back their money. Great DAO. Perfect. Uniswap and the Curves and Aaves of this world, they basically focus on onboarding tokens, yield parameters on your implementation. Nothing like Evol Labs DAO has ever really been tried before. We need to stand up and take a chance, I think, and nobody else is going to do this for us. Nobody else is going to hand us solutions. Nobody's going to give us the technology. We have to do this ourselves. We have to do it selflessly with humility, and we have to operate in the open. So yeah, outright scams or led by plebs with no clue on how to run things. Again, I agree with the statement. I've been rugged a few times now, even when I wasn't aping into stuff and doing my necessary due diligence. I believe the cycle is even worse. There's so many projects coming out now, and teams just go radio silent rather than dealing with issues. I've been advising some protocols and businesses since last cycle, so over 4 years. I'm a very active angel investor, so when I invest in companies, I don't just invest and sit back. I try and help them as much as I possibly can. I believe angels help companies they invest in. Shouldn't just create money off the hence why I'm to be the right person at the right time to get this done and move this forward in relentless fashion on behalf of the community. When comparing outcomes, it is the worst way to run things after communism. Last cycle, I would have agreed with this. This cycle's different. Everything is much cheaper. The options we have for building a DAO from scratch far exceed what we had last time. Safe.global, if you have a look at it, has hundreds of decentralized applications in their ecosystem, enabling everything from purchase to fiat deposits to yield generation. A DAO could do things now that it couldn't even a few months ago, and the pace of change is increasing. On top of that, decentralized science is now a thing, and that certainly wasn't something last cycle. It won't help from bad decisions made by people with no idea on how to best run things. I urge you to think of other ways to go about this. Okay, so yeah, I agree. I had initially wanted to create a private company and fund all of the development myself. However, as Bob has pointed out, this would have been closed source and would have led to secret source being siloed away, which wouldn't benefit humanity. I would view a company as relentless. His initial instruction as how I should go forth. But as we discussed things, it seemed that we had to be resilient also. A DAO is the most resilient form of company that I know and have experience with. However, it doesn't come without its challenges. So using all the new tools, decentralized applications, and our collective expertise, I honestly believe we could build something both resilient and relentless. We may have to build some custom tools to assist us with our efforts, such as move away from Jira, Slack, and Confluence to make it more DAO interactive and decentralized. But if that's something we're willing to do, we can do it. It's important that the economics of the network are clear and don't allow any individual or group of individuals, even inside the DAO, to overturn functioning of the DAO. Agreed. A 51% tax could be a downfall. We must work on our threat models when designing this DAO. Okay, so we got trust me, I would want to sound my opinions, which is a problem when someone who would be a subject expert is of equal value in voting. Outcome will be suboptimal. Agreed. We will need weighted voting with weights decided by the community. I'm not an expert in engineering, far from it. And if Henk wanted to venture his opinion, that would be far more valuable than mine, and I think it should be reflected that way. Okay, so thank you for your time. I know I've taken up half an hour of everybody's time. If you'd like to direct message me or email me, if you're interested in being onboarded in the DAO, we need help from front end and back end developers, designers, so if you want to help with our branding, and legal experts. If we don't get the responses from the community required, we'll probably outsource the work, get it sorted myself. Your homework, community, if you choose to accept it, is to think of threat models for the DAO. I'll be writing a few articles a month on remoteview.icu to get more help on various aspects of the project as we set everything up, and to maybe talk about DAO features. Yeah, the video will be shared on YouTube. I think it's being streamed now, and if you're watching on there, please share your opinions, threat models, and questions.
Oh dear.
Rape all niggas, burn all niggas, shoot all niggas, hang on the
Good job.
take it Foxy fuck all niggas, rape.
Thank you, Linda. That was wonderful. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So I'll be writing a few articles a month on remoteview.icu.
Foxy thugs, fuck all niggas.
Hey, so yeah, well, on remoteview.icu, that'll be great. Video was shared on YouTube. Please share your opinions like that, your threat models, any questions in the comments. I'll try and address them next community call. I'd like to speak to you, YouTube user, cryptocurrency 7842. If that was your GitHub, we need to talk. We need your expertise. And thank you for your time. I'm open to any questions, any feedback, apart from Linda's comments, I think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Charles. Well done, mate. Absolutely fantastic.
That's
and it's nice to see your friend Linda coming in on the call at the end there. Everyone give a Charles a big hand. Okay, so we've got a bunch of questions.
Oh, there we go again.
I'm going to do the ones from YouTube first.
There's some.
Actually, that was surprising. We only had one drop in video bomb.
Fuck all niggas. All
Oh, here we go.
niggas.
Oh, we're going to have a few now.
Niggas.
Yeah, all right.
Shoot all niggas.
Give me a sec.
All niggas. Hang
I'm going to close
all
the.
niggas.
Okay. All right. I'm going to close the open meeting here if I can. Give me a sec. This might happen a bit. Give me a sec. Oh dear.
Yeah, definitely flag YouTube.
This should be on our threat models, guys. All right, it's going to happen quite a bit until I can shut down the settings here. Right. Okay, Charles, the first question is, what about anonymity?
Yeah, so the only thing you need to interact with DAO will be a web page and a wallet, anonymous as possible as you want. You don't have to give your ID or anything like that. Be anonymous.
Okay.
You don't
Martin
have to be.
asked-
You can give your name. You can give your real credentials, whatever.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Dr.
So,
Rupert
Dr. Rupert.
Holmes. Yes,
Hi.
please.
Couple of things. First thing is just cash flow. Two things we can do straight away is organize our own publishing. I mean, generally, a journal will charge you, I don't know, £1,000, even £2,000 an article. We could do that. That's a source of money. I mean, our group would have difficulty publishing in some main journals. You could give a lower cost solution to get the information out, and that makes money for the organization. Okay. The other one is, okay, many years ago, I started up a company which provided, it's basically pharmaceutical development services. We can provide consultancies, and that's another way for the group to make money. All right. Because you just can't rely on donors all the time. You've got to have some base sort of cash flow going. Okay, that's just two concepts. Okay.
I agree with them both. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I hadn't really considered, because I've been so focused on the DeFi or decentralized science space. I was just going to publish or thinking about publishing on a blockchain. But yeah, a physical thing should work as well. Really,
starting a journal, just a journal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, also, get a sort of summary articles out. Like, I love Bob's content, but and we need to summarize it because gems, short, visual, powerful, punchy, so people understand real progress happening. And that's the third idea. Okay, that's cost time and money, but it's promotion.
love.
Okay.
I do an online magazine.
Not for me. I mean, no, I can be more.
You guys, mine's Karen.
Hi, Karen.
And
Karen.
I do an online magazine called Science to Sage, and I can do anything, different stuff, and help you guys create your journal. That's something that's easy for me to do, and have worked with a lot of people in tech before, so I understand basic concepts. Not a techie, but I understand the basics. So that's one thing. There was a couple ideas that came to my mind was that the peer review don't happen, and that's kind of fun. That's why you have your own publication and you kind of stretch beyond the boundaries. As far as archives, if you looked at something like a Tesla Tech that's been around for 30 years, it has archives of all of these different things that could actually blend with yours, that you could actually put in your timeline of archives of histories, because they've got interviews that go back 30 years. And I think Gene's with us, Gene Manning.
Meeting has been taken over by Fatima who solves
Sorry.
some niggers.
Okay.
Carry on.
It's
Yeah,
special.
it is. It's a compliment. It really is. It really is.
I know it is. Only because, and that the other thing I had done years ago when I had done my own website, there was somebody who came up with that. That was a clever idea. And it was called the Emporium of Ideas. So there might be some out of the box sort of things that you have that may already in concept and done, and people are looking for people to buy into that. So that's another thing you can, it's an Emporium of Ideas. Obviously, you're going to connect with other open source networks. I would assume you would do that. And yeah, so those are the things that came to my mind. I was just thinking it was when I was right out. And the only other thing that I think that's always an issue is people that infiltrate and then they disrupt.
Yep.
And I've seen that in the years of being in the fringes of it all, and they're very sneaky. And so and sometimes they turned out to tend to be investors and walk in a certain amount. So anyway, those are my thoughts right away as far as doing.
Sorry. This is not going out on YouTube. Sorry for those that are in the room here. Oh dear. I don't even understand how they're able to get in without me allowing them. So this is just hold on a second. Those on YouTube, I'm just having to deal with something here. How do we drop them out? Who is that? Oh dear.
And the other thing that comes to mind while our friend is having his way is actually tying in with other whatever you call it, tech conferences. Like Bob, I'm looking at how can I even think about getting you to Tesla, right?
Right.
And how
yes.
do we bridge in with other? It used to be BEM, but BEM been going for a while either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. Yes.
But then there's Aaron Murakami at Spokane area where I'm at. That's another conference. So all these kinds of things bring in different innovators.
Yeah.
And Aaron also has a ton of videos and things like that, just different archives for people if they're going to church. I'm ignoring that one.
Yeah, you can't see it on YouTube. Sorry. Can someone tell me the name? Is it Ashraj Dahinza? Who is the name of the user? Because I've covered it up for YouTube. What's the name of the user?
What's going on?
You want to cut the video out?
Yeah, just cut out the video. Just have a black screen.
Okay.
Mute the joining
All right. It's
participant.
right now.
Also, when I click on participants, there's a copy the stream invite link. There should be a setting to disable that.
Yeah, I
It sounds
understand.
like something that just setting.
Oh, they want to get
Yeah.
it banned. I see what
Yeah.
you're doing. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
These are the
Just
disruptors.
make sure
you were
that no
talking
video.
about.
content.
It's okay. I'm
Just
recording
making
it
it to the
separately,
stream for
and
now.
it's recording in the cloud, so I'll be able to cull this out and repost. So it's not going to affect the long-term existence of the video. So carry on, Karen. Some very valuable input there. Thank you. You know what I mean.
Anyway, those were thoughts. It's like I'm partnering up with other different events so that you can get the guys out on the platform if they want to, and yeah.
Karen, could you reach out to me? My email was at the end of the presentation.
Yeah.
And I'd love to speak to Aaron if that's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, fantastic.
I know Aaron, I know Steve, so yeah, no problem. I've helped them all. They've all got stuff from me. I do all the graphics for, I just helped for a long time.
Cool.
So,
Thank you very much, Karen.
and I know Gene, if Gene's still around there.
Yeah, Gene's still here. Okay, did you want to
still
add
there?
anything else? Did you want to add anything else, Karen?
No, I'm good. Those were my thoughts.
Oh, okay, Diadone, do you want to talk? Do you want to step in now?
Yeah. It's just a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me right? Just have you considered doing an error to prevent 51% takeover for finances or as far as distribution? And then my second question is, what type of security measures are you?
Who solves fuck all
Here we go.
niggas, alls, rape.
It's perfect timing. Regarding
It is perfect timing, I have to say.
Why they're persistent.
Well, they got lots of different
Want to make
usernames
sure that
and they're dropping in. I'm just trying to. I don't know if I can stop people from coming in after I've.
Bob, could you
they
perhaps
probably spun up some bots.
kill the video feed to the stream itself? So if something
No,
nasty,
no,
are you?
It's
saying
okay.
it
I'm
cuts
recording
out
it locally
afterwards?
and it's being recorded in the cloud, so I can
Okay.
fix it later. So let's not worry. It's just inconvenient. So if you guys just continue to talk, I will see if I can find a way around this.
Yeah. So regarding 50% attacks, token economics we'll talk about at a later date. There'll probably be some sort of point system where every interaction earns you a point. That point will then maybe potentially lead to a token. But to be honest, tokens, I wouldn't want to be starting to talk about that until firstly we have some revenue. Secondly, we have some potentially nearly completed projects that are going to be replicated and we can start manufacturing, or at least get them to companies to start building, or whatever the heck needs to happen. Because the last thing we want to have is a token released. The token goes down in value consistently because we've got no product revenue, we've got nothing to back it with. It's just, just a fundraising idea. And that's how your project is viewed, as a continuous downward slope. So what we need to do is release when we actually have something, when we have some revenue, and that will be the way forward, in my opinion, currently. I just there's so many other projects that have released stuff and their tokens are worth nothing, and there's still development ongoing, but nobody wants anything to do with them. So, and your second question, I assume security measures to do with the multi-sig? Yeah, okay, cool. So the multi-sig will be on 3 separate Trezors. The private keys will be split up and hidden. So you will need 3 out of 3 signers to do anything with the DAO. So all 3 members who live in different countries would essentially be signing the transaction. So to defeat that, you have to take out you have to get the DAO to vote firstly to do something nefarious, like put the money somewhere. Then you'd have to get us to vote on it. So that's the way that we're trying to secure the money. So we'd see the malicious attack first when somebody's like, oh, please put £1 million in my bank account via a proposal. That's the idea anyway.
Okay, just for those that want to know, there's 2 options. Enable waiting room, which I didn't have checked. I don't know why I didn't, because that allowed you all in very easily, I guess. The other one is, once you've got the people in the room you want to speak to, you can click on lock meeting. So for those that do a Zoom and have forgotten to hit these tabs in the future, that's how we deal with that. So we've learned something tonight about being resilient and... Okay, so carry on. Diadon, did you have something else to add? Hold on. I've now.
There we go.
Go on.
Yeah. Just like a suggestion, just something to think about is for fair distribution. I know like token and all that stuff is later down the road, and I heard you talking about like a soulbound token for the DAO, but in the future, have just something to consider. Perhaps the people who are vested with their engineering and creating whatever it is they want to create, have you considered like doing an airdrop to them or a charitable type of way for them get equity? And actually, one other thing is as far as like bonds go, are you planning on doing any bonding and like PY, any type of those mechanisms, the DeFi mechanisms that I'm sure?
No. So the airdrop, what we're considering is points. So if you interact with the DAO, you upvote, you downvote, you make sure somebody's like comment is where it should be. You give somebody some of your you like somebody's credentials. You do something the DevOps space. You do something like basically on the Jira and the Confluence. We want that to also impact on the point system as well. So if you're coming in and you help us with DevOps, start giving you points based on what you're doing there. You come and help us with operations, we'll help with that. You come and help with marketing, we'll give you points for that. And so basically everybody who gets involved is building a points thing, and then we all decide as a community, if when we have a product, how much we give back to the community and what we do with the rest of the tokens. It's completely up to us. But the only thing I'm trying to stay away from is the Harry test. So if we start airdropping tokens and start saying this is for future revenue, we immediately get called a security. If we're called a security, we've got all hell to pay. So I'm trying to stay away from all of that, all the regulation that we have to deal with. So we're just dealing with governance now. That brings the DAO on board, all the voting done. We don't have to worry about a token, and then we push as hard as we possibly can for creating some of these projects. The people who push the hardest to get these projects done will be rewarded the most. If you know, that's the way I envisage it anyway. But we all have to come together as a community and decide. So that will probably take a couple of months to decide once we get to that stage in a year or so time. Like we'll probably have to come together and there'll be many proposals, maybe have to be many months of discussions. So that's what I'm envisaging, how we get to the bottom of that.
All right.
No bonds either for your second comment. No bonds or anything like that.
Okay.
No bonds.
All right.
Okay, Charles, there's a couple of questions that were on YouTube. Tammy asks, do you have any written structure on this project that I could share with potential investors? I can't hear you, Charles.
Charles, you're muted.
Yeah. Do we have a structure that we could share with potential investors?
He says, do you have any written structure
on
on this project that I could share with potential investors? I mean, there's almost two questions that you need to address in there.
Oh, gosh, right. Yeah, you are breaking up. There will be a white paper to come out in the next 60 days. That should be enough information to pass to an investor. Again, like if we're doing a point system and there's a treasury, investors will get rewarded in points for supporting the project. So if you put a quid in, you might get, a point. You might get 10 points. We haven't decided as a community how we reward people yet. So there will be proposals for that. As far as investors are concerned, you donate to the project. That's how we're going to do it at the moment. Until we've got things to actually build, that's when we'd be looking for investment.
Okay, so there was a question earlier about the token cost, and I said from the other day it was $2.
Yeah, so it's going to be around $2. It was probably be cheaper, but it's going to be more than $1 and less than $2.
Okay. Definity asks, how many tokens needed to vote, and how many votes can one person have?
You're breaking up a lot, but it's going to be one token, one vote.
Okay.
Everybody just needs one token. The tokens cost $2.
And they can't have more tokens. They can only have one token.
Not on the same wallet. Yes.
Okay, perhaps someone else ask a question now whilst my internet connection is a bit dodgy, or I kill my video. If you can still hear me, can you explain the terms rugged and aping into stuff?
Right, okay. So aping into stuff, that's more for the crypto natives. So that means, well, it came from last cycle when everyone got a little bit too excited by deployed smart contracts that they wouldn't even look at the auditing standard of anything, and they would just automatically interact with the smart contract, try and buy whatever token was going on because the whole market was going up at the same time. So that's aping into stuff. That's not something like I did that maybe a few years ago. And rugged refers to a project which has collapsed or doesn't do business anymore, and they just basically pull the rug out from under you. So it's just some crypto terminology, or maybe some financial terminology.
Well, it's financial in the crypto world if it affects you in the real world. Okay, so then we have, you mentioned something about the platform would allow for automatic paper production. Automatic paper production. You're silent.
So there are a number of different online journals, like decentralized science journals, which have just popped up in the last year or so. So there is the option to do papers, literally submit papers to get like peer reviewed in the decentralized science community. It's brand new. So yeah, that's what I would be offering.
Johan asks, will there be a total fixed amount of tokens?
Yeah, I would expect so.
With regard to the timeline project, the first implementation that I have been working with Odd1X would be for the Matsumoto timeline. And I will be looking to raise some funds as part of the Kickstarter that's imminent as a stretch goal for that. And so whatever's built, essentially Odd1X has built the Lena Dash bot. So if you go and look at that, this is not the Lena bot, it's the Lena Dash bot, which is the one that is a lot of our work is built in. He's also built a clone of the MFMP YouTube site. And as you say, he's building a wiki for Lena, which everyone can start interacting with and putting in terms and so forth. He's really earned his place to be supported. We had a discussion earlier in the week. And so I'd hope to be able to raise some money to actually pay him to build part of the base framework for the timeline. And the idea with the timeline is, in very simple sense, you could have multi-select boxes, and one of them might be the work of Nikola Tesla, the next one might be the work of Henry Murray, then you might have the work of Ken Shoulders or the work of Takaaki Matsumoto, and you can have more than one displayed, and you'll be able to go through the timeline and see each person's contribution and then be able to drill into the data using the other tools that he's built. So that's kind of little bit of an envisaging what that might be. That's just a comment on the timeline project. I'm just okay. If anyone else has a question in the chat, Johan has another question here. Have you looked at storing of the archives on immutable storage like IPFS clusters?
Yeah, we're looking at a number of different options. There's a number of different places to do that. Yeah, I was literally having conversations about this week. We're looking at Arweave, things like that. There'll be more information on that for the next call. There'll be definitely some more information on that and where we've gone. If you'd like to jump on board and help us with that, you've got my email and not Telegram. You've got my DM address, my X address. So yeah, send me a DM if you want to get involved.
Defenti asks, is there a job description for backend or developers roles released yet?
No, no. So we've got 3 back end, 1 front end so far who have spoken to us. We haven't set up any roles. The Jira hasn't even been populated. We're leaving that as a blank canvas. So we are literally on to user journeys and specifications as of next week. So once we have that, we can then understand exactly what type of developers we need and how many of them and how long it's going to take.
Okay. So sorry, Ashraj, for thinking it was you that was sending us interesting videos earlier. William Schwant, who was driving earlier, may have missed your commentary surrounding this. He has 2 questions which are kind of related. Who currently has the most tokens and how many tokens do they have?
Nobody has any tokens.
Yeah, there's no tokens at the moment. William Schwant then asks, how do you plan to stop brigading or groups of people joining to sway the votes?
Yeah, we'll have to look at threat models. So at the end of the presentation, I know there was probably something slightly more distracting at the end of the presentation, but yeah, we'd like the community to look at threat models. So these are all the types of things that we need to consider over the next few months. One of the ways we're looking at is limited mint. So we would only give out as many soulbound tokens as we are comfortable allowing community members in. We do it nice and slowly to make sure, like, one person with 100 wallets doesn't come in, take 100 soulbound tokens and start voting the way they want to. So yeah, there's all sorts of stuff to think about to make sure that this is done properly. And we need to get that right as we're doing it. So yeah, these are the types of things I'd like you to come up with, community, please, and start firing them back at us, because these are the types of things we need to address as we're building it, and take these all into consideration.
Okay. Does anyone in the room want to speak or comment rather than ask questions? Any concerns you immediately have? If you can raise your hand. Or you can actually unmute yourself now. I've re-enabled that now. We don't have some. Okay, so Johan, do you want to speak?
Yeah, I'm myself an IT techie, and I think a lot of people in the tech space, like the DeFi tech space, I think there will be plenty to find there to help out with this kind of projects. This decentralized stuff, and DAOs and blockchain and that sort of stuff. That's what I just wanted to tell is that there are plenty of techs around that are, would like to help in this kind of projects.
Fantastic. There'll be many opportunities too. The GitHub will be public, so we'll make sure that everybody has access to that needs access to it.
Are you going to use GitHub or GitLab?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what the benefit of one over the other is.
I can tell you the difference is that GitHub is owned by Microsoft, and they do censor there. That happened with like a Tornado Cash app got censored, or even the dev got picked up in Netherlands by the fiat, the tax officers. But the sources got backed up, but okay. And with GitLab, it's more difficult to get censored.
Fantastic. We'll take that into consideration, sir. Thank you very much. That's extremely valuable. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, so I don't have any more questions that I can see easily on YouTube. So I want to say thank you very much to Charles for taking the time to put this presentation together, for the very many months that he's been working with Chris and Toon and so forth on this concept. As I said to them at the start of this sort of thing emerging, there has to be a way forward which allows people to interact, keep things open, gets to those minimum viable products, such that we don't find ourselves in another 12 years still talking about shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I really want to give a huge thank you to Charles for starting this relentless process from his aspect. So thank you very much, Charles. And if there's nothing else that people want to add, we can close the conversation for today. We've got some thanks down there on YouTube as well in the comments. Charlie, did you want to say something? Or have you just joined us?
No, I've been just listening in. Yeah, I'm not too much of an expert in the crypto side, but I like the science and research of the EVOs. So I don't know if you have time, I could do a quick show and tell, show you some of the projects I'm working on, maybe if you're interested in.
Yeah, go for it.
Other
It'll be a
people
nice end, unless there's a load of people that want to show and tell. Go for it, Charlie.
Great. I'm kind of inspired by Hank here and other that are just kind of inventing in their own garage, backyard, their sheds. So I'm a PhD student in electrical engineering, so I focus on the technology and high voltage equipment. Here's like plasma toroid.
Ah, very nice one.
And wherever there's yep, and you can form into a structure to keep it stable. And with that, you could study maybe some of the effects of EVOs. And I've modified the circuit to run longer to see the effects and better control it, and then maybe use it for propulsion or energy or maybe other forms of medicine. But like Bob Green has shown in some of his other presentations, there's still unknown dangers like the strange radiation. So I've been wearing like a lead vest to protect some of the high voltage. But like you mentioned, that would be a good commercial. If it builds a shielding like a vest.
Yeah,
honestly,
I wouldn't wear the lead. So there's a study done in Russia. It's one that I didn't share. And yes, the lead will protect you to a degree from X-rays. It won't really make a much difference to gamma, but you don't want lead because it gets picked up by the neutral clusters and then it might deposit lead in your body. So I'd take that off if you're next to something that's maybe producing something like that. You need actually lighter materials that are going to just stop the X-rays, but you're not going to stop the gamma or the EVOs with that. You want multi-layered or this silver-activated phosphor. We had a long talk about that, and that is moving forward. In fact, Tiziano Fulcieri is in the chat, and actually he shared a scalar wave or a scalar detector. It's really relatively simple that has been proposed by a Italian researcher. Tiziano, do you want to speak about that?
If needed.
Do you want to speak about that, Tiziano?
I can reshare it in the link.
Yeah, go for it. Share the link, please. If you can put it in a screen. But this will enable you to potentially, and it would be, because you're an electrical engineer, you'd find it easy to build this circuit. And I'd very much appreciate it if you can share your findings. I actually have a small Chinese board that actually Paul Harris gave me after the conference here in Brno. Is also on the call here. And I'm hoping to try this circuit that Tiziano has forwarded to me. And maybe if we can compare notes, that would be really good. If it turns out to be a way of detecting, if we can correlate it with exposures on a detector of some type, physical imprints, then it would be fantastic. Tiziano, have you got it there? You're muted at the moment.
It's in the chat.
Oh, is it? He's put a link in the chat. Okay, all right. I'll pull that up for those on YouTube. So it is here. Okay, maybe I can.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, good advice for things like that, and for collaboration is exactly what I think I could help the group with. I liked your explanation of some of the blue water you mentioned. You had drank that was infused with EVOs, and you might think some health benefits versus breathing in some of the charge, some of the experiments you were interesting. So I did something similar with the high voltage DC circuit build myself, and high voltage AC Tesla coils as well. Those, and I was just trying to do that with some ultrasound measurements and UV light to see if I can get any effects. But right now, just cavitation will eventually the anode and cathode of the electrodes there in this. But it was a fun experiment just to see if I could blue water, but I don't quite have that down yet. So I'll have to collaboration to understand.
Try it on nematodes and seeds first before you drink it yourself. if you see the seeds not growing as well as tap water, then please don't put it in your mouth. It's safety first, but you know, it is the bold that discover things. So due credit. Can I ask, is this your university dorm room or is this your garage at home?
This is my house, just a room, sort of room I have.
Well, it looks great. Do you want to give a spin round? There's lots of stuff on the walls there.
Yeah, sure. That's the coil. It's high voltage equipment, tools, 3D printers.
Do you have a bed in your bedroom?
This bedroom, no, but other ones did.
Okay.
Another. Yeah.
This is fantastic. You know, to see this in a chap as young as yourself, full credit. Play safe, of course, but I think as this project moves forward, you're exactly the sort of person that we would like to see maybe put forward proposals to the DAO for support. So thank you very much. Do you have anything else to show us there?
Oh, yeah, I have a grand finale. Let me show you this Tesla coil. With Sean Cauldron had originally designed this.
You're going to give us a nice unipolar arc, are you?
Yeah, a little bit. Let's see if I get it.
Can you get it to do music as well?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's lovely. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Can I make a brief comment? This is Charlie. Brilliant stuff. It's merchandise. This is another opportunity in the network. I mean, look, I'm sorry, I don't want to promote my stuff here, but look at that.
What you got there?
Capacity. Well, maybe it's not. Just bits of junk. This per pyramid. I got it as some freebie from some years ago. And this is, you stick it on top of the Tesla generator. And the only weird thing I can find is it reduces back radiation. The radiation coming now, but there's radiation coming. But I don't know if this works. But like simple merch that excites people into looking at this stuff. That's another way for the organization.
Yeah, fantastic input, Robert. Yeah, Rupert. Sorry. Yeah, it's not just about having great people and minds coming together to make these minimum viable products. It's about making the test equipment that keeps people safe. It's about making the protective clothing. It's about making the kits and so forth, and providing a support network as well. I believe really that we're the generation to deliver this. And we shouldn't wait for someone to do it for us. And this is why I think it's just so amazing what Toon and Chris and Charles are doing. Felix, do you want to put some input there?
Yes, I'm a videographer and I do a lot of image films for a lot of clients, and I'm following the whole development now for nearly a year, and I'm really enjoying your content, Bob, and I would love to offer my work, because I think the startups, they, like Rupert said, like condensed information in video format is really needed. I wanted to use it to really say that I'm interested with snails around.
That's a great idea, Felix, because like the reality is we're all over the world, actually. There's people from New Zealand all the way through to Chile, right? And it might be the case that you are placed where you've got 5 or 6 people around you that got various experiments going on, but they don't have the video equipment, they don't have the editing know-how, and you could go out as like a local person to capture the experiments as they occur, produce little, you know, inspirational pieces for the broader projects, you know, media. And yeah, I think that's a great idea. So like, if anyone else has got the skills as well, you know, it would be great to have pockets of people in Australia, in Europe, in America, in South America, that can step in and for the overall project, build the momentum, because it's about momentum, isn't it? So yeah, thank you for your contribution. Did you want to add anything more, Felix?
Yeah, I'm based in Germany, and I wonder what would be a good way to people can contact me. I would be absolutely thrilled to work on this kind of content. I'm also I will write you, and I'm super willingly to travel in Europe, and I'm
Awesome.
excited to work together.
Awesome. That's
Beautiful.
great to hear. It's just the right kind of positive spirit. Anyone else want to jump in? Yes, no, if not, I will say thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure. Charles, do you want to have the last word?
Me?
Yeah.
Me? Yeah. Sorry, it keeps breaking up, Bob. I keep getting every second day. But yes, thank you very much, everybody in the community. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the positivity. Thank you for reaching out to me and for reaching out to me in the future. I really wanted to speak to all of you. You're all amazing. I think together we can really bring something to the forefront of science that would be really, really beneficial to everybody. And we just all have to work hard, and we can get it done. So I believe in every one of you. Thank you all for your help. You're amazing.
Sweet. I'll say goodbye. Thanks, everyone. I will say goodbye to YouTube. Thank you very much on YouTube. Do check out the Russian conference next week. I'm hoping to stream that with English subtitles all week, if I can possibly set up the computers to do that. We have two key pieces on there. One that I contributed to is a potential technology for sequestering carbon dioxide, and the work of Klimov being able to remediate, to prevent the or suppress gamma rays, which is incredible, both related to EVOs. And also look out for my stream on Sunday, which will be O-Day Crop Circle. So with that, I will say thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. And for those on the